My name's Ash, and today we're looking at CATCheckpoint from a subcontractor point of view. So we're going to look at everything from the admin side of it, adding staff to the system and projects, how to manage your remedial items in your list and notifying the main contractor. And we'll also look at communications and notifications out of here as well. So the first thing we're looking at is when you log into the system, you're coming straight to the All Projects page here. And this will give you a list of all jobs that your company is added to, and then also narrow down by those that you as the user that's logged in have been granted access to. So we can see all of those jobs here. You can filter those down by contractor if you want to, or you can look at also just your jobs, all company jobs, or those that are coming up close to practical completion as well. And you can also print off a list of those jobs, either just all together, or also those just current ones, or those that are in all status, so those that have been retired and completed, etc. as well. So to start working on a particular project, you just select the project name, and that's going to then show at the top of the screen here which job you're operating on, and it opens up your remedial management and communication pages as well. So we can go into there and look at managing that remedial list. So when the contractor has created the defects list, assigned defects to you, and then notified you, you'll get an email telling you that you have a certain number of defects assigned to you with a link to the login page. And if it's your first time logging in, it'll have a temporary password and everything for you as well. So then you'll see that list on the All Projects. Click on it, and we're going to go then to our Manage Remedial. So in here, we select the inspection and the location of those lists. By default, it's going to show us only those that are incomplete, that we've still got to complete and sign off. But we could take that filter off and see all that have been assigned to us, or we can look at those that have been approved through the various stages as well, whether it's by the main contractor, the consultant, or by you, the subcontractor. You can also further narrow this list down by area, or by and within that area by type or room within those different areas as well. So if you've got a whole lot there, which hopefully you don't, you can narrow that down to find just the ones you're looking for. You also, by default, it narrows down to your trade that you've been accepted under. Also with that filter panel, if you want to take those off and get back to kind of the start, you can hit clear filters, and that will wipe them all for you and start again. And you can look at just you or other defects in the system as well, but by default it's only showing you your defects. And we can then see all of those that are relevant to the filters selected in our list down the bottom here. And so we can see for each one where it is within that area type, so what element, the defect description, the position within that element, and then we have our status symbol here as well. So that's showing whether it's up to you and it's within your sort of sphere to complete, whether you've marked it as complete and it's waiting for sign-off from the main contractor, or then whether it's been signed off by them and are waiting for a consultant further up the chain to sign it off. You've also got notes here that can be added to that particular defect, and you can come into here directly from this page and add a note if you wish, or you can do it from the defects page itself. And that gets all audited, so you just type into the field here and hit the green plus button to add it, and it will show who added that note and when. So if it was from you or from the main contractor, or from another sub if that's previously assigned to them, you can see those notes that have gone on to it. And then finally, the magnifying glass will take you directly to that defect itself. So if we click onto that, we can now get the defect details. So on here, again, you're getting all of the information about that particular defect, when it was added and updated, where it is within the project, and both the location, the area name, the type, and then the element and position. So exactly describing, if you walk into that room, first you're told which room to go into, and then within that room, you know exactly where to look to find this defect. We've got the description, and this is all set by the main contractor, trade, and the contractor that it was assigned to. So this will be showing your names here. And then also we can see when it was first notified to you and you were told about it, and when you are expected to have that completed. Now again, with our notes, we have the notes listed down the bottom here, and if you want to add one from this page, you can, again, typing into the field here and hitting the plus button to save. Now, if the main contractor has loaded a photo of that defect, you will see that photo here on the screen, and you can then upload your own photo of that defect being completed by clicking on the upload button here and grabbing that photo from your local file directory and saving it, and that will show that, hey, we have completed this and here's our photographic evidence. So you come in here to view those defects, update them with a photo, and also to then mark it off as having been completed by you and your company and ready for inspection from the main contractor. And so that's the status up here. So at the moment, we've got an orange chevron showing that it's awaiting action. If we click onto that status symbol, we get our options. It's either awaiting action, or we can mark it as completed, turn it to a green chevron. So saying from the subcontractor point of view, hey, we've done this, main contractor, you can now inspect it and sign it off on your end. And that's just a matter of clicking on that icon to change it. From here, you can also print off those defect details. So perhaps if you have someone else going to site to complete and they don't have access to CATCheckpoint, you could always print those details off to give to them as a hard copy. From here too, we can go back to our schedule, go back to seeing all of those defects. And on here, with that magnifying glass, if it has a green tick on it, that means that there is a photo loaded against that particular defect. So this one here, we can see the photo of the defect as it was, and then it's also been remediated, and this one has been marked as completed, both by the subcontractor and then also by the main contractor as well, as you can see by the green star here. With that status too, once a main contractor has marked it as approved, you as the subby cannot come in and change that status. It can only be changed by the main contractor or further up the chain with a consultant, for example. So you want to go through each of your defects and going into them, marking them off as completed. Within the defect, adding a remediated photo. You can also change the status from the schedule page here. So we can just click onto the status icon, mark it as completed, for example, and then at any stage when you want to notify the contractor that you have completed that item and that it's ready for inspection, change those statuses, and then just hit the notify main contractor button here. And that will email the primary contact from the main contractor. It will email them directly saying that your company has marked X number of defects already for inspection and that they are all completed. So you can do that all within the system here. So also on this as well, you can print off the remedial schedule with or without photos, and they'll just be as little thumbnail photos if you want to. So again, if you're having staff, say, going to site that don't have access into CATCheckpoint, then you can give them a manual copy and they can take that to site and complete those items, and then come back to the office, say, and let you know, and you can come and update the status for each of those as you go through. So that's your main managing the remedial, and that can be done on the web here. There are also apps, mobile apps for CATCheckpoint, and they will be shown in a separate webinar in a couple of weeks. We'll be going through those. So the next page we want to have a look at is communications. So on each project, the main contractor can send you communications via CATCheckpoint, and when that happens, you would get an email with that communication, and you could log back into CATCheckpoint, come to the communication schedule, and actually find that communication from here. Find the one you're wanting to look at and hit the view icon. The magnifying glass will take you to that communication, the details. So you can then see here that information that's come through from the main contractor. You would see who it went to in terms of the other subcontractors that were sent and copied in on it. And if you want to reply to that communication, you can do it down here in the responses. So you just type into the field here your response. If you want to upload a document along with that response, hitting the blue upload button here, and that will again take you to your local file directory where you can grab the document and save it to this response, get all your text in, and then just hit post, and that will send that back to the main contractor. It will also list down here, like we saw with the notes, you'll get an audit trail of each of those replies, who sent it and when as well. And so you can always go back and see those replies coming back in, and you get a bit of a chat thread loading up on the communication itself. The other operational side of things we want to have a look at here in the remedial management section is the subcontractor performance. So this is where you can actually see how you are tracking with your items that have been assigned to you. So on this page, you need to select the inspection title. You can then filter it down by location if you want, and further by area if need be. So again, you can really narrow that down to see where you are at personally with all of your defects. And then we see, based on that information, the location, and it'll list out each of the areas separately. You can see how many defects in total were assigned to you in this number here, how many that you have marked off as completed and you've remediated, and then the balance will be showing here, and then how many have been approved by the main contractor. So we can see that in this particular case, we've been allocated 5, we've signed off 5 from our end. We're still waiting on final sign off and approval from the main contractor on one of those defects. And then the turnaround here is the average number of days it takes from you being notified to having that defect signed off as being approved. So obviously the fewer days you have in there, the better off it is for you. And you can see that and report on that yourself, how your company goes with the projects and within the various areas, so you can see what your performance is like and take that going forward and make any adjustments if need be. You can also look at that for your performance as a company, or as a whole, or just for a specific project as well. So there's really good ways to track your own performance within the system and how you deal with defects as they come along. So that's the main operational side of things, and as I say, that can be done on the web or via the app if you have those. The last couple of pages we want to look at here are around adding staff and putting those staff onto projects and giving them authorization. So the first page under our personnel is our staff and security. So this is where you're loading all of your staff into CATCheckpoint. and our project staff is where you add them onto specific jobs. So if you're adding a new staff member, come into this page, adding their name and address, phone number, and assigning them a security level based on one of these options here. Now, what those levels mean, you can hit the security legend, and that tells you what each of them is, and it's varying access to the system and say who can add new staff members and who can access which pages within the system. Now, if we want to look at an existing staff member to look at some of that information, if we click on the edit pencil down here next to their name, we now see, in this case, Johnny's information. So we can see all of that. We can adjust any of those fields that are grey and grey there. When you add a new person, you then hit the invite button, and that will send an email with a temporary password to that user. And once it's been sent, when you hover over it, you can also see the date that it was sent through. The next one here, to authorize access to all projects. So if you tick this box, then that staff member will automatically be able to see all projects that you have in CATCheckpoint. If you leave it unchecked, then you will need to manually add them to projects as you go through. Marking them as the primary contact, that will then mean that by default, main contractors will be seeing that person as the contact to send it through to, and also from our point of view, who we would contact if we need to. Now, then, is this person a mobile app user? So that ties in with your purchasing apps down here. So the way that works is that you as a company purchase the app, and then you assign users to being app users. They can go and download the app themselves. It doesn't cost them anything to download. And if they've been ticked as a mobile app user up here, then the system will allow them to log in through that app. Otherwise, it'll give them a warning saying that they need to contact their administrator to become app enabled. And if you wanted to add those, just select the type, the quantity, and then go through to the PayPal to purchase those app licenses directly through the system here. The last box here, contact no longer works for company. So when somebody leaves, come into here, select that box and hit add update login details, and that will remove them from your system and cancel their login. So that if they try to log in, it won't let them. And it will also free up, if they have been mobile app enabled, it will free up that app license to be used with somebody else. So you come in here and make any adjustments to any of that information if need be, and always hitting add update to save those changes that you've made. If you are adding multiple staff in one hit, then you can download a template here, which will give you the columns to fill in. And once that's completed, then hit the upload and grab it from your local device and upload that list in one hit. So that will save you a bit of time rather than adding them one by one. So that's adding your staff directly into the system. The next page here, our project staff. So this is where if you're not having your staff authorized to all jobs, you can come in here and assign them to a project. So we can select our job from the drop-down list here, and we see those that are already assigned at the bottom. And if we want to add someone else, select their name from the drop-down list. We see all their details, and we can then again hit the email icon to send them an email letting them know that they have been invited into the project, and that will then add them, add that project onto their projects all page when they log in. You can also select if they are the project primary contact. So again, notifying for the main contractor who to talk to from your company. When the main contractor sends notifications and communications out, that's who that person, that the primary contact will receive those communications. And You can also mark other people as having auto notifications. So again, when a contractor adds, say, new defects to your list or changes the status and sends them back to you, those notifications would go to the primary contact, but you could also add someone else here to receive those notifications. And once they are on the job, again, you'll be able to mark them as no longer relevant to the project and take them just off that job, and then you can go and take them off your entire staff list if they have left you altogether. So it's kind of looking at that, adding staff. The other thing on here too is for the user that's logged in, up the top here you do have an update my info, so you can go into here and change your own name, phone number and password if you so wish. So if you don't have access to our staff and security page, where you can also update the password and those details, as an end user, you can just hit that update my info to change your passwords, etc. So that's what we wanted to have a look at today, gone through the project list, how you deal with your remedial items, where you go to view them and update them, and how you change the status and upload photos. Looked at communications and responding to those, some reporting that you can see for your company and how you are dealing with your defects and how quickly you're getting them completed, and then also the system setup with adding staff to both the system in general and to individual projects.